y'all, it's Chimdi. So I identify as a woman who is 5'8", you know, sometimes 5'9". I've had friends say that I'm actually 5'9". And when I swipe right on a man on an app such as a Tinder, for instance, and you say you're 5'10", first off, I love that for you, okay? I love a short king, all right? I believe in someone's character and their soul, all right? But listen, if I do swipe right on you and you're said you're 5'10", and then when I open the door to say hi to you, I have to like look down on you, do you see how we're already not on a great start? Do you see how that doesn't really make me think you're an honest person, okay? And here's the thing, as I said, it's not about lying. It's about the fact that one, you either don't love yourself, and I can't be with somebody who doesn't love themselves, okay? So you're lying because you don't love yourself. Or two, you are trying to make yourself accessible to women who you know would immediately swipe right on you, and you don't want them to not give you a chance because you think you're great. But listen, if a woman would swipe right on you just because you say 5'10" instead of 5'6" or whatever, that's not the kind of woman you want to be with, all right? Because she has different values, all right, than you, I would assume, unless you also are superficial. No offense, like I said, it's all preferences, like what you like, but I'm just saying, like, that's not the kind of person you should want to be with, because you are lying. And so when they open the door and look you in your face, they can tell that you are lying. What's the long plan of that? That only works until you see someone in person. And then what? Then what? For this video, we're gonna be talking about my experiences dating in LA. They have been myriad, they have been wonderful, they have been deeply upsetting, they have been dangerous, they have been joyful, just truly the stuff of films and movies, you know, some ones that you want to see, some ones you're like, I really wish I hadn't agreed to see this movie. The spectrum, the full spectrum. I have had a genuinely great time. I've had a genuinely great time dating in LA. And I say it as if it's the past tense because it is the past tense, okay? Not only because of the pandemic, though I also went on some virtual dates during the pandemic that I also want to talk about, but because honestly, and I feel like if you know me, you know where I'm going, Jesus. Yes, that is correct. I actually was listening to a podcast on the Iron Wifey TV YouTube channel. She reached out to me on Instagram and was like, hey girl, you cool? And I was like, who's this? And she had an interview with this woman. The woman was telling a story about how she was like with this guy and she loved him, but he wasn't a man of God. And so she was like,
baby, you gotta go. And also, it's not even about me. It's not that I want you to become a man of God for me. I want you to become a man of God for you.
And she ended up by saying, people think there are all these rules that you gotta put like, date this many people before you get married, etc., etc. But it's like, God knows who's for you. So you really don't gotta do anything. You don't gotta do any work. Like, it's already kind of in the cards. So you can really just mind your business and chill. And I was like,
that feels so true.
Men, as in most things in life, I'm like, I shouldn't even have to work that hard for this. And I'm like, okay, so I'm no longer intentionally dating. I have undownloaded all of the apps. I am moving on, and I truly am just waiting for the Lord Jesus Christ to bring some man into my life. If you're that man, don't be weird, okay? Don't be weird. I started getting all of these DMs, I think because I put in my other LA video, the 1 year in LA video, that I was aggressively single. And I think men were like,
oh, that's a challenge. Let me slide on in the DMs.
And first off, let me say, obviously I am deeply flattered. Like, I have a whole YouTube channel because I want attention, like, but also it's really just not probably gonna happen there, okay? So you should just know that. You probably are wasting your time. But if you just wanna give me compliments, my DMs are open. But given that my time of intentionally dating is now concluded and that it's almost Valentine's Day, we love a good season about love, I was like, this is the perfect time for me to walk you through all the different dates that I've had here in LA. And of course, I'm not going to say anyone's name. I'm not gonna give you any photos, and I'm not gonna give too many identifying informations. I think, honestly, I don't think any man who I've dated is watching this video. Though if you are, honestly, like, I bet you miss me. But they probably will never come across this, probably. But I also am gonna try to frame all the stories from a place of like, here's where I messed up, you know? Because what I've learned the most from relationships, from dating, is that it's not like there's a right and a wrong. It really is just two different perspectives. And it's like, okay, how much am I willing to be compassionate to see this other person's side and vice versa, so we can like get to our shared goal and our shared vision. So I'm like looking back at all the things where I feel like I could say the other person did wrong. I'm like, no, actually, Chimdi, you could have done better in that situation. Okay, let me start with my favorite date, okay? So my favorite date actually started after I had gone out to the movies. So I went to the movies, I went and I saw the Harley Quinn movie. It was, y'all, if y'all haven't seen it, it's the same person who did the choreography from John Wick. Like, it is very, very cool. And so I ordered an Uber pool. I think it was a Lyft line. It was one of those. Also, remember that? We would just get into a car with like 4 people and just be like, all right, let's just go. Wow, so many people in a car together. That's crazy. Anyway, so I have my little opinions about the movie. So I'm like, boop-a-doop-a-doo, tweeting away, and then I see my ride has arrived. So I walk, it's both the back seat are taken, and so I go to the front seat. This is not a thing I mind, by the way. I was that person who would sit in the front seat of an Uber / Lyft, not thinking that was strange at all. As I got older, I was like, I guess it's a little intimate. So I get in the front of the car, I'm like doing my little text and stuff, just minding my business. He sees my address and he's like,
Oh, like what side street is that on Sunset?
I had at that point lived in LA for obviously less than 6 months because it was a 6-month lease. So I did not know. And I'm gonna be honest, it's not an excuse. I should know where I live. And I just don't be knowing where I live sometimes, y'all. It's very like extra information for me. So I'm like trying to figure it out. I'm like, well, you know, I think it's like, you know where that McDonald's is? And then there's like this, and it's like that coffee shop, and it's like there's a concert like hall bar situation, and I'm like, let me just, because I'm thinking he really wants to know, so I'm just like, let me find it in Google and I can show you. He was like,
No, girls, it's not that serious.
and that's when I realized he wanted me. So listen, I don't know if y'all have like picked up on this, but whenever anybody talks to you who does not have to talk to you, they're doing it because they want you. If they give you any extra bit of whatever, if they're not just being like nice, but they're doing just a little bit more than they have to, that person wants you. Keep in mind that I'm the kind of person who does assume everyone wants them at every time, always. So I might be coloring my perspective a little bit, but in my experience, if someone is just like, oh, so where's that street? You know, you just want to start a conversation with somebody, I'm like, you want me. And here's another thing about me. I love to flirt. So I'm getting self-conscious. That I'm talking too long, guys. I mean, if you made it this far, then you're here for this. I love to flirt. I love it so much. It's like dancing with your mind, you know, and like, you just like smirking at you, just giving each other looks. Oh, I love it. So to me, I was like, okay, that's an opening. This man wants me. And he was cute. He was an Asian American dude. He had like hipster glasses and like a backwards cap and like a hoodie. And he was just real chill, you know? Like I love a real chill man, because as you can tell, my energy is real up here. So I like when a man is just real calm, real grounded. I'm like, yes. I started a conversation with him about like whatever, like about him driving for Lyft, about how he liked it, etc., etc. At one point he mentioned that he was an actor, and I was like, are you good? And he was like, you know, all kind of awkward and stuff. And he started like almost like physically trying to hide himself amongst his hoodie, which I also thought was cute, because I love when men are shy talking to me. It's one of my favorite things when I make a man shy. I love it. He made a joke like,
Oh, you know, you're making me kind of hot, all these questions.
and this is what I do. I reach over and I put my hand just right up against his neck so I can see how hot he is. So let me explain something to you about my flirting technique. It's quite bold, all right? It's quite bold, but it's bold because I read the room. I read the energy, I read the vibes. And if your vibes are saying, girl, I want you, I'm gonna just put my hand on your body, okay? And let me say, truly, let me say, because I hear how it sounds, you know, if you're a man, don't do this, right? And if you're a woman, probably don't do it either. And I'm so sorry to be seeming glib, because you really shouldn't be out here just putting your hands on people. But all I'm gonna say is if the vibes are right, all right, I might just put my hand up against your throat. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, okay? Please don't judge me. This is why we can't open up. It's because we're all afraid of judgment. Please don't judge me. So anyway, put my hand right up against his skin, and as you can imagine, it's like, that's basically a wrap, you know what I'm saying? You can't really resist nothing like that. And meanwhile, to be clear, there are still 2 people in the back seat being like, what is happening here? I really am just trying to get to my destination. And I feel so sorry for those people having to watch me and this man just flirt in the front seat. Or maybe they were into it. Who knows? So basically, we now drop off every single person on the route, right? And now it's my turn to be dropped off. Once we're like nearing my destination, I'm like, oh, we should be friends. You know, I just moved to LA, so I was truly about making everyone a friend. I was like, I need to grow this network. And so we're like coming right up to my street, literally about to make the turn onto my street. And he looks at me and he says, do you want to go for a drink? Ah, and I was like, yeah. And it was great. Literally the stuff of like movies and romantic comedies. I also don't for as fly as I am, I know it's crazy, I am very rarely like spontaneously asked out where I'm just like, minding my business and somebody's like, oh, you're so beautiful, can I take you out? I'm always like, I wish that would happen, and you think it would happen more. I promise it does not. And I guess, you know, once more, men maybe don't do that to women. Maybe they're just trying to like get their groceries or whatever. So, but yeah, so to be spontaneously asked out by somebody was so fun. And I did think he was cute, and I was flirting very hard, and I liked his style, and I wanted to hang out. And so yeah, we went to like this nearby bar, and I was being like, you know, I don't want to like mess up your work night, you know, because it was still like maybe like 10:30, like it wasn't that late. So I was like, you could definitely still make some more money tonight. And he was like, nope. I'm done for the night. And I was like, okay. Okay. But yeah, it's all very innocent from there, truly. And also, I'm not gonna get into nothing crazy on this channel. Come on now. Eventually, I'm gonna be a big deal, or an even bigger deal, and then I can have no nasty stories flowing around about me on the internet. Come on. It's not gonna be good for my brand. But anyway, yeah, so we went to this bar. It was super fun. Maybe we kissed a little bit, you know, when he drove me home. That was nice. And then that was the end of that night. It was very sweet. It was very spontaneous. I think that's why I loved it so much. And it was also very like, it was exactly what I wanted. Like I had talked to God and I was like, God, you know what I want to do? I just want to make out with somebody. I don't need to be serious. Just like a good vibe, a good energy. We just like make out, and like that's that. And God was like,
I got you, girl. I got you.
So yeah, that was definitely my favorite date. I'm so curious to see how long this video is right now. That took so long, and that was the best one, and all the other ones are trash. And I feel like that's all y'all want to hear about, is about the trash ones. So let me talk about some of these trash ones without being like too disrespectful. So I would say the number one thing that all of my bad dates have in common is that I was dealing with a man who was signaling to me early and often that he did not have the emotional intelligence to engage on the level that I want to engage at. People who know me in real life know within 5 minutes I'm asking you about your life, I'm asking you about your hopes, your dreams, your fears, I'm asking you about your trauma, I'm asking you about like why you think what you think, I'm asking you about your worldview. Like I really am not a small talk person. I can do it. It's physically painful, but I can do small talk. But all I really want to do is like read your soul like a book. Like that is what I want to do with you. And so I would go on these dates from these men from these apps, and believe it or not, they didn't really want to necessarily get into it with me like that, you know? Not in the first 5 minutes, and often not at all. And it was my fault, genuinely and truly, and I really believe this. It was my fault for not reading that signal 5-10 minutes in and continuing to ask questions. That was 100% on me. And if you don't know me, which none of these people did, you don't understand where I'm coming from, which is a place of like genuine curiosity, and maybe not as much back then, I can be honest, but like compassion. Like I really just want to understand who you are. Like I want to know what I'm working with, what I'm dealing with here. And I think I wasn't great at that. People weren't expecting it, they weren't interested, and so they all just became really defensive. And so all my conversations just got super duper heated. But I don't know if this has been y'all experience with men, but men love to argue. So it wasn't like it would get heated and then like we would stop arguing. We would just like, it would just stay in this really tense space, and neither of us could be like,
well, this is terrible. Let's stop doing this forever.
So that's what most of my dates had in common. I did have a really fun date that I thought was hilarious, but my one friend was like just deeply upset the entire time I told it. So I don't think I'll tell the whole thing, but I will share his profile photo looked like Christian Bale on American Psycho. Like he had like the slick, this is like an Italian dude. He had like the slick back hair, and he had like a suit on, and he had like a very, like he had a strong jaw, but like, you know, very clean shaven. And yeah, he looked like Christian Bale in American Psycho specifically. And so I messaged him and I'm like, have you seen American Psycho? And he was like, yep, it's my favorite movie. I was like, if that's not a red flag, y'all, if that's not like a, hey girl, maybe not him, I truly don't know what to tell you. But don't be worried. It didn't get hectic. All I'll say is that we met up after 10:30, which is already a sliker. What are you doing? Why are you leaving the house when you know, like, what do you think is gonna happen here? We met up after 10:30. We went to a CVS and got some liquor. We drank it in a parking lot, and we went to a club, and then around 1:15, he was like, you wanna meet up with this other girl? And I was like, and then we got to a red light, and I left the vehicle, and 2 minutes later my Uber arrived and I took myself home. So that's how quickly I like to exit a situation. When I'm like, you know what, this no longer serves me. And that's the only advice I have for you all. When you know things aren't working as you want them to, exit the situation. Don't linger, don't see, well maybe Oh my gosh, I went on a date. I had a picnic date. We went to Elysian Park. That was really sweet. I had a couple of Echo Park dates where we would meet at Echo Park and talk. That was really fun. I love a good sitting on a park kind of date, you know? Like, you know, there's always that debate about money and men spending all this money on dates and stuff. And I'm always like, I always just stay real quiet because I'm like, we really could just go sit at a park and talk. I really don't want to do that much. But I feel like that's not what the vibe is. The vibe is very much like, you better get that man to pay for your dinner. And I'm like, okay, I will. I went on a date in Venice Beach. We met up at the beach and we just like walked along it. And then he was fully unprepared. And so I had brought a scarf to sit on. And so I put it down for me to sit on. And then he tried to like scooch onto it. And I was like, you being unprepared doesn't mean I have to share my scarf with you. And that's how I knew. I said it to myself though. No, I think I did say it aloud. But I said it like I was joking even though I wasn't joking. It was fine, but it was a waste of money and time. Ooh, that's not nice. He definitely doesn't watch this. These people, I don't remember that man's name, so I know he doesn't remember my name, so he will never see this video. It's totally fine. Anyone else? I don't know how I'm gonna insert this in. I just wanna reference it that like, I need y'all to deal with your trauma, okay? Deal with your trauma. Ooh, I can talk about how everyone is recently divorced. What I will say, and I don't know if this is like a Tinder, like just dating app thing, but almost everyone that I talked to was recently divorced or had just left like a 7-year relationship. And I was really surprised by that. I was like,
that's a big relationship. Maybe you should just take some time for yourself and like heal versus talk to me, because you can't really engage in a meaningful way if you just left someone and I'm the first person you've talked to since that relationship crashed and burned. Like, probably isn't the best vibe.
I will share also that I was dating into the quarantine. I went on 2 phone call dates. I went on 3. They were all fine, but one was actually really great and the guy was like super smart. And guess what? He truly was sleeping on someone's couch because he had just divorced his person. And so, you know, why are we trying? What are we doing? What is the point? I'm actually going to be talking with a couple of friends actually on a podcast about relationships, so I'm going to share that with you all when that drops so we can get into it more there. But honestly, like, I'm chilling, I'm fine. I got the Lord Jesus Christ. I know I got some man coming my way. It's going to be all good, and I enjoy myself. Like, I genuinely enjoy my own presence. I could be sitting here in my apartment alone, just cackling. I thought of something funny, I'm reading a book, it makes me laugh, I just start cackling to myself, living my best life, like genuinely so okay. It's tough though to say you're okay. You can't say you're okay too strongly or it sounds like it's a cry for help. Then you're just like, I'm okay. I can be alone with my book and I'm fine. I'm totally fine. It's great. I love myself. I love me. I love this. It's great. Awesome. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for watching, y'all. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to see more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!